Hey there, Pisces. Welcome to your reading for the week of December 20th. We're just going to jump right in here, Pisces, and see what is going on for you this week. Pisces, right off the bat, you have this orphan card here. When I put it down, it came up in reverse. You also have the Fool there coming up in reverse, which is pretty funny. I don't read reversals, but it's interesting. There's a cliff on this Miracles card, and I'll show you when we get there. But you had this orphan card, and it came up in reverse. I feel that intuitively that this is a fear of something being released that could be coming up. I feel like you're already feeling this fear before we even get into the week of the 20th here with the orphan card. Kind of the words that are popping into my head with this card for you here, Pisces, are that you're like fearing that something isn't going to be able to support you. Intuitively, that's what I'm feeling here. So there you go. Notification sound, right? So ding from the universe. And I feel for some of you, it's like the fear of something not being able to support you or take care of you or something like that. You know, it could be like a business or a career. It's like sometimes I do think, you know, if we're experiencing a dip, which you probably are just based off your astrology, I think it's weird, you know, having Jupiter in your 12th house. This week, it moves into your, finally, or actually I should say towards the beginning of next week, it finally moves into your first house, into Pisces. And again, it doesn't really matter when you were born. Yes, I understand that some of you might not have, it might not be your first house, depending on when you were born. You're all different. But for the most part, Jupiter will be entering into most of your first houses. For some of you, it's already there, but it's still in Aquarius, which is still Pisces' 12th house. And what I'm trying to say is that I think that 12th house Jupiter is kind of weird. Jupiter to me is always positive, but 12th house could expand things that maybe we're leaving behind. Aquarius is also the innovator as well. Whenever we get into periods of life where something is changing, when we are innovating, that can definitely bring up fears, even if it's a good thing that is happening to us. You know, for example, it's like if you have a business, but maybe the business you're in is dying, we can see this happen with Jupiter in your 12th house, especially in Aquarius. It's like you could have a business that's starting to like fade away, but maybe you're kind of leaning into something else. You're about to start something else. And whatever that is, obviously Jupiter first house, freaking amazing, right? Same thing in love for you. Venus goes retrograde for you as well this year, Pisces, and that's going to be in for most of you, again, that's going to be your 11th house. It doesn't really have to do with love, but actually, believe it or not, Venus going retrograde in the 11th house can be very positive for love, but for the most part, I feel like for some of you, you could just be, same thing in love. You could be wondering, like, is a person going to be there for me for life? Are they going to cheat? Or, all these questions could be coming up. So I get those types of fears here. The thing is, you have the Empress, the Three of Cups, and the Six of Swords. Like, improvements. That's a major improvement if I haven't ever seen it. And here's the other thing as well, Pisces, that really stands out to me in your reading. Six of Swords, Six of Cups, Two of Swords. I'm telling you right now, whatever is on the other side here, whatever is on that new island, whatever is behind somewhere where you don't want to look, some sort of risk that you don't want to take that you should take, whatever is over there, I think is going to be amazing for you, but it's like you have to take the risk. So again, you have the Empress here, definitely a ton of abundance coming in for you. I actually feel like you're in a great position. I think you need to look at all the abundance that you do have. It's kind of weird because I am getting like the whole duality message here where some of you might be lacking abundance in one area of your life, but I feel like if you look somewhere else, you're actually going to notice a ton of abundance coming in for you. I wouldn't really call this a test from the universe, but, I do feel like the universe is like saying, are you going to fall back on your old ways in this first row, or are you going to pay attention to the abundance so that I can give you more abundance? I feel like the universe wants to bless you here, Pisces. I don't want to keep flipping back here, but you have the Six of Cups as your center card here, and the Six of Cups is a gift from the universe. The Six of Cups represents a turnaround, but I'm getting this weird message here. Again, it is a card of nostalgia. And really, I feel like your overall message for this week is to focus on abundance because I feel like you could be thinking about past situations where maybe you lacked abundance or where something didn't work out for you. And that could be bringing up some of these fears of being orphaned or left out in the cold. I also feel like definitely, again, I'm going to say this for the next 3 years straight to pretty much everybody. Teamwork makes the dream work. So, if you're trying to increase your abundance or if you're trying to become successful, working on a team is what you need to do. Three of Cups, celebration, community, and happiness. Again, we see this co-creative energy in the astrology. So, I feel like we really need to like work together with other people. But let's see where this is going. I love 2 sixes. And again, in this second diagonal here, you have the 6 of Swords and the 6 of Cups. To me, 2 sixes says you're definitely going in the right direction. With the Empress, you have the 4 of Cups. What did I say, Pisces? Look at, he's manifested these 4 cups here, Pisces. He's manifested these 4 cups in front of him, but he's got his arms crossed. He's ignoring what he has manifested. I just can't get away from it, Pisces. I just get this sense of, like, this week there could be something coming up where it's like, maybe you've manifested a business. Maybe you have a ton of customers, but maybe you're making less money for some reason. And, like, I think you need to focus on a ton of customers, just as an example. Maybe you're trying to manifest love, or maybe you have love in your life, or maybe you're trying to manifest love. Again, you might be focusing on not having love, but you could actually, maybe you have a dog that loves you. Maybe you have parents that love you. I feel like this reading is saying, adjust your focus. Once you focus on what you do have, it's like the floodgates are going to open here, Pisces. It's a pretty powerful reading. Again, I don't really feel like calling this a test from the universe, but I do feel it's kind of like the universe is saying, did you learn from the past 8-10 years of your life where you experienced restriction? I'm telling you right now, it's because of you had Uranus in Aries, and Uranus in Aries is your 2nd house. Even if it's not, I don't care. Whenever you were born, again, it could be another house, doesn't matter, right? It's still Pisces' 2nd house. And I would say, in general, that energy is extremely restrictive financially. I feel like the universe is like saying, did you learn from that to change your focus to abundance or not? With the 3 of Cups, you have you showing up here. Hangman, you did learn. His head is glowing here, and he's also learned something. He is hanging from the tree of wisdom, the tree of knowledge. So it's kind of like he needs to get off the pole, Pisces. He needs to take a risk. He needs to start moving forward. I feel like it's time for you to move forward here, Pisces. And with the 6 of Swords, you do have the Tower here, Pisces, as well. I feel like you need to let go of things that just don't work in general, period. Plain and simple is what that is saying. The Tower is kind of, sometimes I think we get the Tower when we have an answer, Pisces, when we know that something isn't going to work, but then we keep trying. And I feel like this Tower in the 6 of Swords is just simply saying, you know something in your life isn't going to work, and that could be the thing that is restricting you or making you feel like you're going to be restricted here in your life. I just get this sense of like holding on to a frustration here in the first row. I don't want to drag this first row out, Pisces, but I just can't get away from it. Just like I feel, and again, I'm a Pisces, and, I definitely have things in my life that I'm holding on to that I probably shouldn't be, right? That are just kind of like increasing the frustration. So I feel in a lot of ways this is saying that it's time to kind of like move forward from something. And I feel like, again, the floodgates are going to open are the words that popped into my head with that Empress. In your middle row, you have this Miracles card. And I feel very specifically that if you look at this card, there's like a cliff here, with the 2 rainbows. And I feel for some of you, the Fool is the very next card. So you have to take some sort of risk or some sort of leap of faith that you need to take here, Pisces. I feel like you need to take a risk. And the risk is going to be handsomely rewarded for you, with miracles. So I would do it. You have the Fool, the 6 of Cups, and the Page of Wands. It's like everything in this row is asking you to go on the adventure. You have the Fool, which says you are more than prepared. We were talking about the Hangman. He's hanging from the Tree of Wisdom. On the Fool here, he's got this tiny little sack on his back here, Pisces, and it kind of represents the fact that he has everything he needs right between his 2 ears. He doesn't need anything else. He doesn't need any more information. He also has this feather in his cap. It's like we have a saying, a feather in your cap, right? It's like if you have a feather in your cap, it could represent some sort of knowledge that you have that can assist you on a journey. So I feel like for some of you, this is about needing to take the journey, needing to take some sort of leap of faith here, obviously, that's going to be successful. The 6 of Cups here, I feel like, is asking you to take a leap of faith as well. 6 of Cups kind of says, try again. Like, I feel for some of you, this is kind of like saying it's time for you to try something you wanted to do in the past. You're going to have to do it in a different way, though, is what I would say. Page of Wands. Remember what I was saying about the challenge that is Jupiter in your 12th house. Still very positive, but I also feel that it can bring up some challenges as well. It's, again, Jupiter's pretty much always positive. Doesn't matter if it's going forwards, backwards, where it is, really. But, again, in the 12th, in Aquarius especially, kind of like a weird energy. And what I would say here is, like, if you're trying something over again, Whatever it is, doesn't matter. Could be a business. I don't care if it's a relationship, whatever. The Page of Wands says that it has to be completely transformed. The Page of Wands, there are these pyramids here at the bottom of the Page of Wands. Pyramids in the tarot kind of represent a mystery. So I do feel it is kind of like saying it is a mystery maybe as to how you are going to move forward. But I feel like you just need to kind of like innovate, try new things, and that will lead to the most success. I'm just dropping cards today, Pisces, so let's see what is going on for you. Damn, Pisces, this is a good reading. With the Fool, you have the Wheel of Fortune. Definitely a lot of luck, success, and a turnaround coming in for you here. Like, I feel like this is more having to do with timing as well, which makes a lot of sense with Jupiter entering into your first house. It's kind of like the time is now. The Wheel of Fortune is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter, so it makes a lot of sense to me. With the Six of Cups, you have the Magician. I love this reading for you, Pisces. I feel like you can manifest whatever you want. I feel like you need to focus on joy and happiness. I'm noticing all the white roses here in your reading. The Fool, he's holding a white rose behind him. The Six of Cups, there's a white rose in every single cup on the Six of Cups. On this card here, there's a bunch of flowers, not white roses, but there's a bunch of flowers in front of him here, and he's pointing down to the ground right here, Pisces. I kind of feel like this is talking about what your focus. It's like if you want to manifest something, the Magician, he is the ultimate manifester, like you. And he understands with those flowers kind of represent what he is focused on. He understands that he has to focus on joy, happiness, abundance, love, right? To be able to manifest anything that he desires in his life. So he's like focusing on the right things. And, I feel like you need to do that as well. When I put him like this, he's actually pointing to the Ace of Cups as well. So, focusing on love, that doesn't mean like a person coming into your life that you love. Focusing on love means that you are just focused on giving off the energy of love. You could be focusing on your cat, your dog, your goldfish. I don't care. Doesn't matter. I would do it here. I also feel like you're reinventing yourself. Again, Jupiter in your sign totally makes sense to me. The Magician, he represents reinventing yourself because he has this snake that is wrapped around his waist here. I really see you sticking up for yourself here, Pisces. Kind of like in the first 6 months of the year. That doesn't mean it's going to stop after the first 6 months of the year. I just think that it's more important in the first 6 months of the year that you really stick up for yourself. I see you doing things that you want to do as well. I think Pisces gets sucked into things because it's like we're people pleasers, so people make maybe suggestions to us and kind of leads us down this path where we just start living other people's lives. And that's like coming to an end here, Pisces. With the, Pisces, this is a good reading. With the Page of Wands, you have the Six of Wands, major success, abundance, and excellence coming in for you here. This could be like a little bit of resistance. I think especially Pisces, I think when you are glowing, when you are getting attention, it's like sometimes people in your life might not enjoy that. They might not like it because it's like, how dare you not be my emotional sponge? And, I feel like the Six of Wands is you kind of really standing up for yourself, like I was saying. I also feel like there's a lot of success coming in for you here as well. In your last row, you have this Close Encounters card. A very spiritual time for you, and you have Jupiter and you'll have Neptune in your first house. Amazing for developing your intuition. I would actually even argue that having Venus going retrograde in your 11th next year in 2022, very, very good for psychic development, intuitive development. I would actually argue that focusing on your intuition during next year would be a really good idea. Trusting your intuition, learning how to trust your intuition. It really wouldn't surprise me if this year you had a lot of moments where you said, I should have done that. Because maybe intuitively you knew that you should have done something or that you shouldn't have done something. So it's kind of like 2021 was kind of teaching you like how to trust your intuition or the things that you should pay attention to. And it's like 2022, it's like the universe, Six of Cups. I feel like the universe is saying like, hey, Pisces, did you learn like what you were supposed to pay attention to with your intuition over the last year or not, right? I see this manifesting in different ways. It's like maybe there were financial opportunities that you didn't pay attention to. Maybe there were love opportunities as well. And I kind of feel like this is you kind of transforming your intuition and becoming more intuitive as well. You have the Two of Swords, the Ace of Cups, and the Page of Swords here. I really get a very strong need to not second-guess yourself on this Page of Swords energy. He's kind of looking back to the past here, and I feel he is second-guessing himself. I feel like he is saying, is this the right path for me to go down, or do I turn back around? I feel like you need to keep moving forward. One of my favorite people I always talk about are Esther Hicks. I don't agree with everything she says, but, one of my favorite things that she talks about in manifesting is, it's like if you're trying to manifest something, it's like you just have to go straight towards it. It's like she equates it to driving cross country. It's like if you're driving from New York to Los Angeles, you don't drive from New York to Pennsylvania and then turn back and drive all the way back to New York to make sure you're going in the right direction. You just keep moving forward. Same thing with manifestation. It's like you shouldn't be turning around making sure that you're manifesting something, and I feel like that's what that is saying. You have to just keep pushing forward here with the Page of Swords. With the Two of Swords, again, this can represent trusting your intuition as well. She has the blindfold on over her eyes. So it could say, sometimes some readers even read the Two of Swords as needing to trust your intuition because she's wearing a blindfold, because she can't see, she is trusting her other senses. Sometimes I feel with the Two of Swords, it's not necessarily a bad idea to take a pause and to, kind of look and see what's going on around you. The pause might be necessary with the Page of Swords, with the Two of Swords here. What I would say to you is it's not in your situation because of that Page of Swords. So I feel for a lot of you, you need to kind of like see what's over here on this island that is behind her. She is sitting where she has always been, and she needs to experience something new. Ace of Cups, right here. Her cup is overflowing. I just get the sense that, really, I feel like sign, Pisces, I feel that there is almost like a devil energy in your life. And it's almost like something that is sucking your energy away from you. I don't think it has to, I'm not referring to something like super dramatic here, or something that is, this doesn't have to be dramatic is what I'm trying to say. But, I feel like there could be a person, but it's probably like multiple things that is sucking your life away, stealing your energy. And I feel like you need to focus on yourself at this time and focus on what you love, what you enjoy doing. This includes people, businesses, jobs, where you put your energy, your health, exercising, like every little thing in your life. I think you need to focus on what you love, what makes you happy, and I think you will be surprised by the transformation that happens when you do that. I feel like the Two of Swords worries are everybody else. Like, what will my uncle think, what, about all these other things in my life, right? I think what you need to realize is that people are going to resist change right now. And it's like, if you're changing, if you're having your glow up with the Six of Wands, like I was saying earlier, Empress here, glow up vibes, right? Empress energy. If you're having this happen in your life and you're experiencing miracles and other people aren't, they're going to try to drag you back down. I think Pisces, as I say to you all the time, it is super important that you shine bright right now, because you're going to be an example for other people. Eventually, people won't be able to ignore you, and that is like the place that you are going. I think that's the most exciting thing. Sorry, I want to make sure I just turn this off. That's the most exciting thing about 2022 for you, is it's like so good they can't ignore you. I said this to you in one of your last readings. With the Two of Swords, quick success, you do not realize how quickly you are going to become successful. I say this to you every single reading. And again, makes sense with Jupiter in your 12th. This is what I'm blaming all this on. Jupiter in 12th, it's like you could be thinking about starting a new business, starting a new relationship, meeting a new person, joining a new group, doing anything. And you could be thinking, oh my God, I'm going to have to like start all over again. You're not starting over. And not only that, things are going to happen extremely quickly. So for those of you that are thinking about, pivoting in your life, let's put it that way. This feels like a pivot to me. And again, I think Jupiter in the first is all about making a pivot in your life, making a change that expands you, especially with everything else that's going on. I'm here to tell you that this pivot is going to happen quickly. You're not going to be like waiting for results. You're not going to be waiting for things to happen. I think you're too used to that, and I think that's what's causing the second guessing. I think it's almost like you've become too familiar with what you don't want. And that's what I feel like saying. This is a deep reading, Pisces. I like this. With the Ace of Cups, you have the King of Swords here. Definitely could be love coming in for you here. Again, even with Jupiter, even with Venus going retrograde, like I said, 2022 is a pretty good year. And again, actually, Venus going retrograde in the 11th is actually pretty positive for love, especially if you get out there. It's like, I think that Venus in your 11th could make you want to withdraw a little bit, could make you want to kind of like not get moving or anything like that. I'm going to talk about this more in the full 2022 readings that will be coming out later this week. So I think it could make you not want to socialize and things like that. But if you do, then it could be very good for love. But I also feel like the King of Swords, he's very direct, open, honest, and he's very straightforward as well. With the Page of Swords, Fear, Moon, your card, you show up here twice, which is amazing. puts you in a position of power and strength. But the moon is kind of like a period of innovation. It represents a period after a full moon, which is a period of innovation. Everything I was talking about at the beginning of the reading. This reading is saying, keep going like this. Keep moving forward, Pisces. Don't go backwards. Plain and simple. Go in this direction. Something has come to an end for a reason in your life. Or, again, I kind of get the feeling that for some of you, especially for those of you in work, business, career, or if you're trying to improve your finances in some way, it's like one thing could be shriveling is how I'm seeing it in my head, and something else is growing. The problem is what's shriveling is physical. What is growing is an idea. So it's like if you have a business, it's like your business could be shrinking, or it might feel like it's shrinking, but maybe you have a new idea where you're like, I could move in this direction, and that could be growing, and I feel like there's a lot of fear there. But that's the direction I would move in. I would start the new thing. And again, I don't think you realize how quickly with that 8 of Wands things are going to improve. I'm here to tell you that's what's going to happen. Same thing in love as well. It's like something could be pulling away from you, but I think you don't realize that it's like a vacuum. The space that's being created is for something much better. Interesting reading. For sure. I love this. Thank you for being here. This is a really good reading. So thank you for being here, Pisces. Make sure to watch your sun, moon, and rising for a full picture of what's going on for you at this time. Also, I linked up the mid-December 2022 readings down below, so make sure to check those out. But this looks really good, Pisces. So thank you for being here, and definitely enjoy your week.